Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is for the solar eclipse that is happening on either the 3rd or 4th of December 2021 in my Midwestern time zone in the United States. It's happening at 1:43 a.m. If you're on the West Coast, it'll be actually before midnight, just before midnight on the 3rd of December. And I think pretty much the rest of the world will be on the 4th at some time during that day. And this is a powerful new moon, being a solar eclipse at 12 degrees of Sagittarius, actually 12 degrees 22 minutes. Oh wow. And 2 seconds. There's that 2 the ones and the twos, because we do have 12 12 21 12 21 21, and so this is the 4th of December, but then we have the degrees and all of that as 12 and 22, and next year we're going to have a lot of twos. So anyway, a lot of you probably know what Sagittarius represents, but let's just kind of review. Sagittarius is the ruler of the 9th house. Sagittarius's ruler is Jupiter, and so it has an expansive quality to it. I happen to be a sun in Sagittarius, and it's the house that is associated with God, and they mention philosophy because, religions are their own forms of philosophy, but then, there are secular forms as well. Anything that makes you question or think about the meaning of life, why you're here, that kind of thing can fall into the category of philosophy, and therefore the 9th house. It's the house of the higher mind. So this can also be, in terms of institutions, colleges, universities, and things like that. This is the house of publishing. This is the house of long distance travel, traveling to foreign lands. Or if you, let's say you live in the United States, you're born on the East Coast and you move to the West Coast. You move far away, or you just like to travel long distances because, in big countries, you can go to the other side of that country, and that might be further than in some places going from one country to another, because it depends on where you're at. Some places are very far apart within one country. And it's just about expansion in all areas of life, whether it be geographically, through your intellect, through your spiritual pursuits. And so this solar eclipse is providing opportunities in these areas. Now, this can be, we can talk about the mundane astrology, in other words, the astrology of the world, and how it will be influenced by this. Obviously, all of you will have it occurring in one area of your chart for you personally, but as a collective, we can look at this and see, is there going to be a shift? Well, I'm looking at these aspects, I'm looking at these inner planets, and I'm like thinking, my gosh, or even some of the outer planets, I'm thinking that this could be a very special time. And I try not to listen to other astrologers talk about the same things I'm going to record, but I did do so, at least one other person, just because it was like it was probably like a couple of weeks ago, and I don't really remember things, but I just remember the tone and the importance that these people have given this eclipse. I'm not, a mundane astrologer. That's not something that I focus on personally with astrology. And some people are very skilled at it because it's one of their interests to predict world events, or even predictive astrology itself is a specialty for some people. My focus is on personal evolution. So I'm more interested in the individual natal chart versus the world, how the world will be impacted by events. But it's always fascinating to hear people talk about these things, and they have talked about that these are very special times. And when I look at the aspects, because I think sometimes it's the best way to get a feel for what's happening, we have conjunctions. Obviously, the sun and moon form a conjunction at every new moon and solar eclipse, but we have conjunctions between the sun and moon to Mercury. Now, the importance of this is that we're dealing with Sagittarius for all three of these planets, the sun, moon, and Mercury. And because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, it's positivity. Look, as I record this, we're just coming out of Scorpio season, and that can be very heavy emotionally. And you will notice, if you really pay attention, that the mood picks up as November advances. And we would just chalk it up to, it's holiday season. People are in a festive mood. And while that is true, everything seems to be, in perfect synchronicity, and therefore is harmonious, because Sagittarius is a great sign for holiday season to coincide with, because of what Sagittarius represents. And that is having a good time, being of good cheer. Jove is Jupiter. That's another name for Jupiter, is Jove. Jovial, we've heard that term meaning just happy-go-lucky, And so that is going to also impact our thoughts, since Mercury is this way. So suffice it to say, and because this is a powerful new moon, setting intentions for what you would like to bring into your reality would probably have even more impact at this time, because the force of positivity is so strong, and Jupiter is such a benefactor. The other thing that this can do in lifting the mood is helping to usher in, or maybe there will be outer events that will usher in this hopefulness, okay? Because again, due to the situation that is global, and that is not an exaggeration, we're all in the same boat. Maybe not, to the same intensity level for sure, but we're all in the general same boat. And so I can't think of any other time since I have been alive on this planet that there has been an event that is affecting everyone. When you think about it, something like a world war is not technically or literally a world war. And even like in World War II, when a lot of Europeans were involved, and even when the United States entered World War II, it wasn't fought, on American soil. So other than Pearl Harbor, Americans did not have to deal with bombings. So it was pretty abstract to a certain degree. So this is a situation that everybody is impacted by across the globe. And so anything that can uplift us can be magnified by the upliftment of everyone in unison. So there might be events that occur that are making people feel hopeful that better days are upon us. We have, and that's because of that Sagittarius energy, but also because there are trines, which are the most harmonious, easiest manifesting energies between the sun, moon, Mercury, all to Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. So Chiron can show up as unhealed wounds. Now, we have our individual unhealed wounds, but we also have unhealed wounds or trauma that are associated with ourselves as a collective. And with these trines between the sun, moon, and Mercury, these affect us in our mind and our spirit. Our emotional or psychological level, as well as the way that we perceive things, which I call it the intellect, but it's the consciousness, you know what I mean? And so we can look at it almost like spiritual, like attitude, how we perceive things. That is highly important, because people who see things from the glass half full perspective are always going to frame things in a way that makes them not victims, but students of life. And this is very important right now, because there's a lot trying to keep us hooked on certain narratives and to get us to lower our vibration. And the more that we can stand in our own understanding of the truth, the better off we can be, because there are squares to Neptune from those same three planets, Sun, Moon, and Mercury. These are all personal planets, and and Neptune can be the deceiver. And the interesting thing about Neptune is it can present as something very, dreamy, something very attractive in a mysterious way, and yet it is something that is distorted, and it's not what it seems. So and they in the tarot they have the Seven of Cups this way, where they show different cups, and it's like the person has a lot to choose from, but it's really not what it seems. All that glitters isn't gold. So this is nothing new. We've had hard angles to Neptune for a while, and it's up to all of us as adults. I always am doing my readings for people who are currently adults, and as adults we have the responsibility to check things out for ourselves and not be gullible children who just believe everything that's told to us. And a lot of times when adults engage in that behavior, I feel like they have kind of regressed back into that child like state where they are dependent on somebody else. They want that figure, the authoritarian or authority figure, to tell them what to do. And as long as people have those desires, then they're going to be vulnerable to people who are looking to control them. And we don't want that. We want to feel that we are sovereign. It doesn't mean that we're an island. No man is an island, but by the same token, we have to stand in truth. We can't hide in lies. I wonder if there's even going to be some good financial news. Venus is in conjunction with Pluto. Um, this can have multiple interpretations. Well, everything that I say can have multiple interpretations, obviously. But one of the things that I think about is the fact that Venus, of course, that has a connection with money, but Pluto Pluto can be wealth, it can be power. When it's combined with Venus, I also think of this almost like this carrot dangled, that here you can get paid for this, and really you have to watch out because it could even be death associated with it. Getting paid for something that could have negative impact or control, ultimate control. Pluto rules the underworld, so anything that is shady or like a hidden agenda has to be, you have to be very careful. But I do think that on the plus side, it might be something that is very powerful and maybe even self-empowered when it comes to money. That, I can't think of what it would be, that if we all get money and that kind of thing. I do think with Uranus in Taurus, that some kind of universal we've already gotten. They talk about the universal basic income or whatever it's called. That kind of thing might be implemented on some level. We've already had money given. I'm talking about in the United States. I realize in other countries that this is something that may be much more commonplace, or what have you. But it almost feels like with Pluto that it could be coming from something that was done that was wrong, that was a no-no, and now we're getting compensated for that. So who knows? By the way, Venus isn't in its shadow period at this time of the solar eclipse. It's going to retrograde a couple weeks after the solar eclipse, actually a day after we have a full moon in Gemini, and it's going to retrograde in Capricorn. So I wouldn't be surprised if it has something to do with the government, because Capricorn can be connected to these institutions. So money, maybe money that is to come back to the people. And this could be money that was taken, nefariously in some way. And it is going to be returned to its rightful owners. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. We live in quite interesting times, do we not? But I feel this sense of hopefulness, and I hope that you do too. And maybe you can sense things possibly seeming to brighten up. But that's what I have for you. I hope you have a great solar eclipse. Make sure to think of things that you want to manifest, because not only is this connected to Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, but also Sagittarius is a prophetic sign. It's looking ahead, not looking to the past. The past is dead. Looking to the future. And so always having this kind of eye to what we want to manifest, not what didn't happen in the past, but what we can do for the future, that can give us a sense of momentum. And thank you for listening. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. God bless you. Bye.